Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about my journey to Kyber. Not Kyber 1 or anything, Kyber 5. Kyber, just over 2 years free to play in this game. I started this account at the very beginning of 2024. Might have been New Year's Eve on 2023, but the very beginning of 2024. So we're about 2 years and 3 weeks into the account. We are at 6.68 million GP right now. And we have a total of 2 GLs. So I want to talk about the things I focused on. Although if you want to know exactly my approach, you can go to my free-to-play guide. That's exactly the way I think about things. I have all other kinds of videos on that, and it would take forever to go into the ins and outs of it. I also want to compare to, a very prominent free-to-play account and see which one is doing better and kind of benchmark myself. But I honestly was not sure how long it would take to get to Kyber. I did not think it would be this quick. 2 years. I thought it might be 3. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. I'm very happy to be there. And I think this is a great model to help replicate if you do want to play this game absolutely for free without no hyperdrive bundle, no lightspeed bundles. Although we have had a lot of lightspeed tokens come up in the past 4, 5, 6 months, and those have helped. But yeah, this is definitely an accomplishment I'm proud of. So the biggest thing is when starting an account, and this is very different now because for the next year or so, there are all these anniversary tokens flooding the market, making a lot of your choices easy and getting you places a lot faster. So you can actually build up a lot quicker than I did. But the first year, or most of the first year, I wasn't worried about Grand Arena so much. You are facing giants in Carbonite and Bronzium. They don't belong there. You barely have anything to work with. You just forget about it. Like, I didn't start really worrying about my Grand Arena performance until I had pretty much locked down all the Assault Battles Challenge Tier 1, 2, and 3 for a lot of them, like Military Might, Secrets and Shadows. And Secrets and Shadows, I eventually got Great Mothers and Upstage Phoenix. But this is what, the teams I had built for all of my assault battles up until a point where I just got breakaway teams that are so much better. But building those passive income events is huge. And there's a couple others, so like the Padawan Obi-Wan Master Qui-Gon event. That wasn't there when I started the account, but it is now, and it's definitely something to go for. The Enoch, the Peridea Pals, Peridea Patrol, that's another passive income farm. And then even your GLs, the ones you choose to go for. I think Leia is the best Galactic Legend for a small account. She single-handedly carried me through 2 undefeated seasons in the past 6 months, both 5v5. And I'll talk about that when I look at my actual Kyber board. But Jabba the Hutt, a guaranteed second, or if you decide to go first or second. For mods, undeniable value. Like, incredibly important for building your mods. You get 4, 5, 6 dot mods each month just by having him, which is huge when you're trying to build a roster quickly. I got him 4 months after Leia or something like that. So I got both of them around the end of year 1, beginning of year 2, and I have not been farming Galactic Legends since. So I got all those passive income events down, and once I had kind of got all the low-hanging fruit with that, I started to work on more Grand Arena teams that are specifically good for Grand Arena. I had Trey I had pretty early on, but Trey and Savage, definitely Grand Arena focus. You want to build them up. And I started leaning more towards the Journey Guide unlocks that would be pretty efficient and lead me to a lot of different GL counters. So I Balin Skull picked up along with Great Mothers. So Great Mothers, Balin Skull, they can take out some GLs on their. I mean, Great Mothers has taken out Jedi Master Luke for me. She's taken out Jabba. Balin dunks on JMK, can take out Rey. Starkiller was a pretty early farm, the first year and a half or so. Bo-Katan, very recent unlock, so very key in getting to Kyber for him, pushing me over the edge against Lord Vader teams. And of course, Jabba can take out some other GLs if you need to. Early on, I was getting a lot done with my Jedi, and I just unlocked Giant Cal. I'm still building him, as you can see, but I was able to beat, when you face GLs in these lower leagues, you are not necessarily facing good Galactic Legends. They might have all their Zetas, they might be high relics, but they have terrible mods. They're so slow. That's another a key to success is having good mods. So cat, I mean, this is a recent unlock, but just plus 177 speed, having those top end mods on the characters that need it, plus 168 speed on Darth Revan, Great Mothers, plus 165. Just having a depth of mods. And Bosk isn't the most important to me, but he's even close to 300 there. So, you know, I got a good double-digit supply of plus 300 speed mod characters. And some, you know, it's not all about speed like Bo-Katan. She's not over 300, but she's got great offense. It's just focusing on those right teams, building them right. And when you buy a bunch of Lightspeed bundles, which I bought none of, I literally have not spent a penny on this account. When you buy the Lightspeed bundles, you get way ahead in relics and everything. Your teams are shells of themselves. You don't have the mods, you don't have the Zetas. And I'm only now coming to a point where I am feeling Zeta hungry because I didn't buy any of those bundles. But now I'm unlocking characters like Cal and coming up on a lot of Conquest units. So for the record, this is where my Conquest units are at. I have Cat. I just got Malgus. And this might be it. I have a lot coming up. And it's like an avalanche that happens to you after about 2 years or so. So we got Malicos coming up, Queen Amidala, Bane, Ezra Bridger, Exile, Luthen. So this is good to show all the Conquest units I was able to make Kyber without, too, just to help benchmark for the future. But yeah, once you have all the easy resource events locked down, then you start going for those big counters. And you got to know when to quit on the team. So I am a huge advocate for the Phoenix. But I stopped farming them after I got Captain Rex to Relic 7 for Leia. And then I had gotten through Challenge Tier 2 of Military Might, or Military Might, the one that just needs Rebels. And Challenge Tier 1 of Secrets and Shadows, I knew it would take a crazy amount of investment to get further than that. Wasn't worth it. So I left them at Gear 12. Chopper and Hera got Anniversary Lightspeed tokens, so they got bumped up. But just know when to stop. And in Imperial Troopers, I knew I was getting Jabba at the point I had gotten Piet up to Relic 8. And I just stopped. I just wasn't building them because I know on my main account, endgame, they're not that valuable. So I just stopped. And how could I forget? I mean, the earliest thing I focused on was Fleet. And Executor is a great ship. And I unlocked it this year. It's been really helpful. But for where the game was when I started 2024, right now there's an argument for like Home 1 Rebels. But when I started, and still now, you can work with it. Galactic Republic Fleet got me there because I farmed Marauder, and people didn't want to farm it because there weren't Lightspeed bundles for it. You couldn't take a shortcut. You had to farm manually those one shard nodes. When it unlocks at level 72, I started when we didn't have an acceleration at level 85. It took a few months to get to level 85. But this ship, along with either the Endurance or the Negotiator, can be pretty much anything that you throw at it. It might be a low chance, but in Fleet Arena, you know, you might need to do 1 or 2 of the really hard battles a day, and it's worth a refresh if you can get your way to top 5. So I started getting top 5 after like 6 months or so on the account and climbing from there. Another big thing was getting into an active guild. So the first guild I joined wasn't the best. They were kind of a mess. I joined, you know, one of the weakest guilds. I had the help of my main account, was in somewhat of an alliance. We had a bunch of ragtag guilds at the bottom. I joined one. They didn't have good organization or leadership, but they had about 100 million GP, which is pretty small compared to what I'm in now. And they did grow, definitely, but they were all over the place, just weren't doing well in TW or TB. And the very first raid, when it switched over to the Naboo raid, the very first raid, we didn't get any rewards, guys. We didn't get anything because we tried it. We didn't even get first box. We got 0 rewards. I wasn't in an amazing guild to start, but it was pretty big. It was pretty full, and that really helped. And the way the raid is set up now, it's collaborative. You honestly just need a guild that's even running like the old Endor raid is fine because you get these two. I mean, the tier 3 raid currency is helpful. After the rework, it's only getting you Relic 8 stuff and up, which you don't need a ton of. But still, getting in a guild that is active and at least a lot of members is huge, even if they're bad. We were bad at TW. We were bad at TB, and we did not do well in raids very quickly. We're getting minimum boxes, but you are needing to be in a guild that actually has participation. Another thing that was key for my account was after I unlocked Leia and Jabba, and I knew Leia was a slam dunk, best GL in the game for a smaller account, dominates every proving grounds. You don't need anyone else but her. And then I got Jabba because I knew it needed him for the mods. I looked around and thought, who's my next GL? I ended up getting Executor as the next big farm after that, and I don't regret that at all. But I realized I don't think I want to farm any of these Galactic Legends right now. There's so much other low-hanging fruit. Jedi Master Luke will be my next GL, and I'm pretty close. But it's just, I'm not close at all to, Kylo and Rey relatively don't have that many requirements for them, unless you count all their ships. But it's just, even Sith Eternal, who's the easiest unlock, that's a lot of characters to gear 13. That's a lot of relics. JMK, great GL. You need Cat for him to be really good. So I was like, I'm not going to rush to that. Lord Vader, at first he needed a Conquest unit in Maul to really shine, and now he needs an entire new clone team farmed after you get him. So there are all these huge obstacles to these GLs, where I was like, I'm just not going to be farming any others. I'm going to go and try to get the low-hanging fruit legends. So the Revens I got pretty early. I got them year one. And, they take a lot to build up, but they're pretty easy unlocks. It's just like 7 stars, nominal gear, not too much, and you get them. So the first GL killing legendary I got was Starkiller, and he's great because he has all these characters that fit in somewhere on the roster I'd already built. Kyle Katarn I actually use with Rey for right now because I don't have a Rebel Fighter team. Dark Talon fit really nicely into that Traya team, or Jade, Palpatine, and Vader were very important to me. And so Palpatine, Mara Jade, and Starkiller were a natural transition. Dash Rendar, he was just pretty good in general. So that was the easy call. JKL is needed for Jabba, so he's just kind of a nice add-on there. Balin was the best farm, I think, because he just became accelerated towards the end of my second year, and I got Balin and Bo-Katan very recently. You get 3 out of 5 of his team, including him, when you farm him, and you get 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 5 of an awesome Great Mother's team. So you take that, you add the Peridia Patrol Assault Battle, and then one more Night Sister. You have 2 Dynamite teams. And then we just add in like Dengar from the Executor farm and Dash from the Starkiller farm, and we got a viable team. And then Bo-Katan, even more efficient. 3 out of 4 of her requirements are just her team, so you have 4 of her team right away. Keller and Beck is, he's okay here and there. That's a really efficient farm. So all those were great to focus on instead of GLs, because I'm able to counter almost any GL in the game with this setup. So I went ahead and compiled some of the leaders for the counters I've used against these various GLs. So like Rey, I feel the most comfortable with. Starkiller and Balin, solid options. I even beat Rey at one point with my Jedi Revan Jedi Luke team. It wasn't a great Rey, and it took a lot of specific decisions to do, so it wasn't easy. I don't recommend it, but I was able to do it. Supreme Leader Kylo, actually a little bit tougher for me. I can either do with Jedi Revan Jedi Luke straight up if they don't have Darkseid Rey. If they do, I have to use Jabba first and use Jedi Knight Revan. JML, one of the easier ones to beat, and there's a lot of things you can kind of do. Balin and Starkiller can honestly beat him too, but Jedi Revan, I had plenty of matches where I use the exact same team, like supporting cast, just with me having Jedi Revan lead and my opponents having Jedi Master Luke lead, and I'd win because I'd have like Jedi Knight Luke, Hoda, and all that. Mace. Great Mothers can kind of dunk on JML. Sith Empire can do it. Sith Eternal, one of the ones I'm not the best at. I usually throw in CLS first and have Wampa clean up. JMK, Balin dominates. So I got 2 counters to JMK recently. Bo-Katan can do it if you have kind of a favorable advantage over them. Development-wise, Jabba could do it. Lord Vader, once I got Fennec for unlocking Jabba, that actually gave me my first counter to Lord Vader. It's only crappy Lord Vaders, though. And that's what you kind of face that on your way to Kyber. But now Bo-Katan, just perfect. Took out a Lord Vader clones just the other day. Jabba, kind of hit or miss. You know, Mirror's my best option. I can't have a double two large characters, so this is representative of Great Mothers. I've done a few counters with Great Mothers. Star Killer's iffy. They're all iffy. Treya is and Womp are a 1-2 punch sometimes. Leia is honestly one of the ones I don't really have a great counter for, and that's why she's so great, as we'll talk about on my board. Java is kind of want to lean on for her. Ahsoka, kind of need to use Great Mothers. And Hondo, I don't know what I would do if I came across Hondo. I really don't. But almost anything, I have a counter for them, so I don't need tons of GLs to beat GLs. And I know I only have one Java. But I've beaten boards with 4 or 5 GLs on them with only having one of my own on offense. So you can do it. And the strategy I employed to get through Rhodium in most leagues, 5v5, this was way more successful. 3v3, a little bit less so. I didn't set a super strong defense because the people I faced, like I just beat like a 12 million, a 13 million, and a 10 million this past week. They have depth. So if I'm trying to beat them on just depth, like a lot of good defense teams, it's not necessarily going to work. I always set Leia in 5v5. Not always. There's been very exceptions where I could tell I can't clear without Leia from scouting. But Leia, R2, and Drogon is the core. I've given them Captain Rex pretty much all the time. And recently I switched to Kyle Katarn. I've had 3PO and Chewie there. I have had some others that I can't remember. And it doesn't matter which Datacron set we have. I try to find the best match for it. Right now that just happens to be this Focus Datacron that has an R2 fear mechanic, bonus protection, lots of great stats. Any Kron that has a lot of health or a lot of offense, I run with. And you see, I have crap Geos, crappy Phoenix. This is the last time I have. This is my Rhodium defense that I had set. Bounty Hunters because I outgrew them. You know, Keller and Beck leftovers because I don't have Queen Amidala yet. Imperial Troopers with just 2 relic characters. I've actually gotten holds with them. I've literally gotten holds with them. And just random, whatever. If I have relics on them, they go on defense if I don't have a use for them on offense. But I try to make sure I can clear. Have everything on offense. And ships, I don't really have a super strong defense for ships, but someone can actually get something done. So I want to make sure I clear. I have Executor and Galactic Republic on offense for ships. I have Jabba and pretty much all my good teams on offense to clear. And it's worked wonders. The amount of times people have just gotten stuck and couldn't kill Leia is just crazy. It's just so often that has happened in 5v5. However, in 3v3, it's not quite as easy. So usually I'll have a climb season in 5v5. In 3v3, I will fall a little bit back down to earth just because there's so many teams. People don't seem to be tripped up by Leia nearly as much as they do in 5v5. In 3v3, I kind of have the same approach. I mean, I do set Leia on defense. And there's just way more teams on offense, so I can spare even less for defense. But if I don't put Leia, I don't really have much of a chance at all. I am planning to get Leviathan in the next few months, so my defense will go to Leia and then Leviathan, trying to hold down ships. Until I get 7 stars on Leviathan, that might not be super effective, because low star Leviathan is just not that great. But you just need a lot for offense. To climb up higher, the optimal approach is not super heavy defense. It's one showstopper and then pushing forward. And now, one thing I want to talk about is just a benchmark I've always had in my mind, because I started this account in early 2024, and shortly after I started the account, I saw a video about a certain prominent player making it to Kyber for the first time in their free-to-play account. And yes, that prominent player is Arnold T101. So he made it to Kyber in about 3 years. So this is the video where he talked about how he made it to Kyber in, January 2024. So yeah, I had just made my account, and a few weeks after I made the account, I saw this. He reached Kyber in about 3 years. So he started the account early 2021, I think. He had 5.1 million GP when he made it. He had 2 GLs, so it's his job here, but he had just unlocked him, hadn't used him in Kyber or in GAC at all at this point. So I always had this in my mind as a benchmark. I was like, can I do that? I was like, I don't know. It seems pretty good. And the game was different back then. You can see, even just from the portraits, from the aspect ratio, this was pre-PC client. This is pre a lot of the characters I have. Leia existed, I think, but she just wasn't super She was pretty new, so Java had been one of his farms for the long term. When he started the account, Slicker was honestly the way to go because that was the heroic Sith days. You needed a way to solo that raid, so Slicker was the way to go. It's hard to really compare because a 2021 to 2024 account to a 2024 to 2026 account, there's just a lot different. But I'm happy that I made it in 2 years instead of 3. And the game has changed. The way we farm things has changed. Tokens are new. But to be fair, tokens didn't really factor into the growth of my account until very recently. However, it did help accelerate it. And I think, I mean, he makes this claim all the time. He says it. I don't know if he actually thinks it or if it's just tongue-in-cheek. He says, the greatest free-to-play account in the history of Swig. I don't think he actually thinks that. It's just kind of like mere puffery as far as legal terms go. But yeah, so I was thinking also, let me compare to where he is now on that account, because that account is now 5 years old compared to my 2-year-old account. And this makes me feel pretty good about this account. So this is my profile. 6.68 million GP, Kyber 5, rating 2956. This is his 5-year-old account. 8.7 million GP, 3018 rating, Kyber 4. I think he's made it up as high as Kyber 2 in the past. That looks pretty good to me. I'm not gonna lie. That is a pretty close comparison for 2 years versus 5. Now, I know, I mean, this isn't his, I don't know how focused he is on this account or not, but for claiming that it's the best free-to-play account in the history of the game, I don't know. So 193 Zetas on his side compared to 127 here. Gear 13 characters, or relics total, 105 for me compared to 148. I don't know. Growing is faster now. In 2024 and 2025. I don't know. He was playing the exact same time. So it's got 6 GLs. I definitely think I have JML and probably Ahsoka on the horizon for my account. Let me see his ships. Does he have Leviathan? If he doesn't, it really should. He does have Leviathan. So 5-star Leviathan. Profundity 6-star, Executor 7-star. So he's got a lot of good stuff. If we matched up, I have no doubt that if he tried to give his full effort, he'd beat me. But it does make me feel good. That's kind of the benchmark I've had in my mind. To get to this point and do an actual comparison, I just feel really good about where I stand. And all that said, I know there's other great free players out there, although I'm not entirely sure of players that have kept super long-term free-to-play accounts that have started them after, playing, have their main account that they spend on. Nooch has made some free-to-play accounts. I know Bit Dynasty, I think, is a free player, but they have either long-term accounts or accounts that they start and then they start over. So it's just hard to really benchmark a really long-term account. And for anyone thinking, 5.1, that's really small, the game was just different. At the beginning of 2024, I think my main account was around 11 million GP at that time. It's now like 14.5. So 5.1 then is probably closer to like 7 or something now. Just kind of like close to halfway to a super end game GP. And it's just remarkable, some of the similarities. I mean, Java was a great idea. Executor was still something. I think this how he played. I think he got a lot of holds on defense using Executor. Like we kind of had a similar strategy. He placed Executor on defense. I placed Layout on defense. Hope to get the hold that way. But yeah, I mean, I have respect for keeping up with the account for a super long time. It's just hard to benchmark yourself. So that's what I'm trying to do with this account. If you are interested in seeing just how I got there, the nitty gritty, I have a couple of playlists for you to dive into, or just spot check if you'd like. So this is my Gotenks free-to-play playlist. So anything that has like week in the title or on the thumbnail, that is just a weekly update from my Gotenks account. I have like the first day I made the account all the way through recently. There's 165 videos in it. I have a few Conquest run-throughs I made. My Assault Battle clears I included in this to show when I made it. And I created the account like day 1 of 2024 or New Year's Eve 2023. So it's very easy to tell how many months into the account I was when I had these key unlocks, when I had these key clears, like assault battles. And then if you want to see specifically Grand Arena, I have the Gotenks GAC playlist. There's 187 matches. And, you know, the date, it's kind of wonky, unfortunately. The date added isn't the best view because I made this playlist later on. I didn't make it as I went, so there's some chromium at the top. There's carbonite. If you just go here, search carbonite, you're going to see a lot of my carbonite battles. So it's more or less in order, but not 100% in full order. So there's all my carbonite, my bronzium, my chromium, my erodium, and soon to be my kyber. So I got bumped up into erodium prematurely at one point, fell back to chromium, which I really didn't belong in. Then I had an undefeated season to go up to erodium 1, fell kind of back down to erodium 4, started the season erodium 4, climbed my way up, and now just hit kyber. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the journey on this account. I'm not quitting it, not starting over anytime soon. I love this account. I've poured a lot of work into it, and I'm only looking forward to what comes next. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have questions about anything. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.